Welcome back to the I Did It First podcast. I'm Riley.
I'm Anna.
And I'm tired. I feel like I'm fighting something, and that's always the worst is when, like, even this morning when you asked me, are you feeling okay? Because I feel like I just looked like that kid from Meet the Robinsons, and I don't know why, like, he has been a staple character lately that I think of. But no, and that's the worst. Like, you don't want to say no, I don't feel good, because it, like, by the end of the day,
you don't want to give up power.
Yes.
But and then you also, that's shown up everywhere. There's like some new strain of COVID that's like all about the sore throat. I was like, been there, done that.
It's just, honestly, I can deal with every other symptom. A sore throat is the worst.
I hate it too. It's actually like
it's the worst. I'm back.
Look
no
at
tape,
no
tape on my nose. I was watching the episodes that just came out the week before, and I noticed my face was a little frozen.
Well, a lot frozen because everything like here is numb, and my mom said that I looked like a ventriloquist dummy. Yeah, you would just move the bottom of your face. Ow.
So that's what I had to work with.
But now your nose is here. It's like the guest on the show today. We
went to Dutch Bros this morning, and I was ordering, and I had, because I sleep with the tape on, and the girl's like, I'm so obsessed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so cute.
It's happening. The validation is happening.
It's so real. I was like, eek.
So of course, 5 seconds later, we exchange numbers, follow each other on Instagram. Next thing you know,
I was like, does this mean my coffee's free today?
Yeah, it was amazing. I love those interactions.
You know, they're called broistas. Like bro.
That's so
Dutch
cute.
Broista. Yeah.
Both he and she? They?
I assume it's just, yeah, sure, fluid, if you will.
Fluid.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yes.
I'm also tired. I was recovering with you, which is, I don't have a good reason. Actually, last night I went back to a grit to cycle, and Andrew was like, where have you been? Like, I know Riley's been out, but he said, where have you been? And I said, well, I was recovering with her. Like, I had to hold your hand when you napped. So.
Well, and it's so funny because when people have been asking, obviously, where you have been, and when you say that, they kind of look at you like,
huh? I kind of adopted that mentality of like newborn mom. No. I was like, I need to nap when she naps because I don't know when I'll get the chance. Made no sense, but I felt justified. So I embraced this opportunity.
Saying nap made me want to yawn. And that's like when a dog hears walk. Anyways, that is what we were talking about today. Yes. Is also what led to you recovering with me. And honestly, let me sit here and be honest. I know I probably could have started doing stuff a lot sooner after I recovered, but it's also, I think the burnout is what led to me taking a hard reset. And that is what we're talking about today, is burnout, and just how it affects literally every aspect of your life when you're experiencing it. Like whether that's emotional burnout, mental burnout, physical burnout, creatively or socially, like
work, all of the areas that it can affect. And like where this is concerned, I was attacking, I've kind of come back, probably a little over a year since hip surgery with working out is such an intense focus that I know that burnout has been real a lot, to the point where I know I'm physically exhausted. I'm convinced I can keep that or maintain at your level, which is crazy.
No, but you do. I'll give it to you.
And no, because you don't see me like face plant into bed at night, like as if like I'm
because I'm already asleep.
And so when this opportunity, I was already there because I had already been taking like double classes, all the things, right? So when we decided, we kind of pulled the trigger on this last minute because timing worked out, like checked all the boxes, work, school,
everything,
financially, everything kind of lined up. And so I just saw that as an opportunity to really take a step back.
Yeah.
And granted, we have a treadmill at home. So I could have actually just been even walking while you were napping. But I did. I pressed a full pause on all of it because I was just like wanted the break.
Well, I felt so bad too because I know how important it is for you working out. And obviously it's like working out does more than just work on your physical appearance. But I know how important it is even for your mental health. And that's why I was like, I need you to go do stuff. Like
it's a lot. Like the whole reason I ever started running was because my mom, Nana, had that horrible hip surgery, and I couldn't manage everything that was going on. Like,
is that really why you
that's when I started. She, she didn't wake up for a week. She was unconscious. And the level of anxiety I started to feel because I was frustrated with how trying to deal with doctors and insurance, and it was for everyone that's ever dealt with it, which is everybody, it's a very frustrating process. So I just took off running one day, and then I started running, and then I was like crying, and then I was like, wait, what just happened? That was so helpful. Yes. Like everything. I'm not a natural runner. I don't know if you've ever really paid attention to me running.
No, but you're crazy. I'm hurting from head to toe. Enough to where you're motivated.
So I can't run like that anymore, but getting back to that physical level of exercise is crucial for me. I've learned, I've tried anti-anxiety medication. I've tried a lot of, nothing works like that for me. And I'm not saying they're not effective for some people, but at the same time, sometimes I will have such a hard time that I go so hard, and then I kind of work against myself. I'm like, why did I do that? Now I don't want to the point where I don't want to do anything.
Literally. And that is now even coming back from having had surgery. I'm like, I feel like I missed all this time. So now I'm trying to fit in 3 workouts in a day and trying to read all the books and wake up early and pick up all these shifts. No, pause, take a beat. You're fine. And that's what I'm trying to navigate right now.
Well, and I see other people do it so well. I've seen other people, let's just say even in the cycle class, that, I mean, part of this, where we go grid cycle, there's a lot of, people really celebrate one another, and there's certain milestones or benchmarks where you hit a certain number of classes, and you celebrate each other. Yeah, because it's a very intense place to work out. And I've been there for people celebrating 1,400 rides,
1,700,
4,000 rides. Yes. And I have thought to myself, this person has literally come almost every day for years. And I have such adoration for these people, because how do they not experience the burnout? How did they, and when I say some of these people, I feel like I'm fighting for my life in this class, because it's hard, where I need to point out that some people are literally battling
for their lives, cancer,
a horrible illness. They are actually fighting for their life, and they still maintain this level of motivation and endurance. And I'm in awe of them.
It's
because I think, okay, it's hard not to say what's wrong with me, because I'm like, why? Look at this person just actually did so amazing at this, and they're going through all this, and I'm over
going
here
through chemo, and it's what?
It's unreal.
And that's where I see this online quite a bit, and it talks about the difference between motivation and determination. And determination is much more constant, because obviously when you're motivated, you have peaks and valleys,
right?
Where oh my gosh, I've been on Pinterest and I want to rebrand my whole life, and I'm so motivated. And then back to the Meet the Robinsons little boy, here I am, I don't want to do anything, or it's no, I went too hard, and now I'm gonna go to the other extreme and do absolutely nothing, and I fall into this cycle, and I do absolutely nothing. I get depressed, and I'm depressed because I do it literally just feeds into itself. Each other. Yes. And that's hard for me. I mean, that's hard for everyone. I don't think there's a single person that hasn't experienced burnout. And I talk about it with my friends a lot, and how even just being in our early 20s and trying to do all the things, trying to maintain a social life, work, family, literally everything.
It's hard, but I see other people. And again, we talked about this, I think, in other areas before social media. And I say that because I love everything that social media can also provide. Yes. So don't think it's a dig, but it's also a day-to-day, moment-by-moment comparison of what you're not doing. And so that struggle I think those moments of burnout you can feel too, when you're okay, I'm doing the thing and maybe not getting the results I want. And here's so-and-so. And again, who knows if that's really true, but you're comparing yourself to someone else who is maybe on the same similar journey. And you're like, why can't I come through like they have? Yes. And that's very, very discouraging. And so, and I'll use my example this year. So like I said, I went super intense this whole year. And part of it too was after
my episode,
after your almost fatal episode, like I could not deal with these feelings a lot.
I was like, everything needs to be like foot on the gas.
Yes. Like there was so many aspects, whether it was taking life moment by moment to also like, there was,
like, I mean, saying constantly. Yes to everything.
Or just moments in the day where I would just start to panic and feel nervous, or you would just be sitting and watching TV. But in my mind, oh my gosh, you just stopped talking again.
I know.
And so I would go back to exercise just to deal with that, to the point where I ended up going at that pace for this whole year to like, I'm exhausted. Yeah. I don't know who I was kidding.
I know.
And so I've dealt with this before, and I've dealt with this at work. I think work is another area where a lot of people experience this. Yes. The burnout with a job is something that I don't think there's anyone out there that can't relate to it. Mm-hmm. You know, I worked at Cheesecake Factory, and I still say out of anywhere I've been in my professional working life,
yes,
I have the most valuable lessons from there.
Yeah. And maybe that's why I want to work there now. It's because I feel like it is so responsible for shaping you.
It was
good
like,
and bad.
Yeah.
Like
but even the bad shaped me for the good.
That's what I mean. Yes.
And so, but also the burnout was real, trying to be young, promoted, in an environment that was typically male. And that's not a downfall, but I just felt like I had to prove myself so much more. So even when I wasn't working, I was available. I was calling. I was doing, I mean, it was a round the clock situation. Yeah. And I think that experience of that burnout was tremendous. Mm-hmm. And I saw other people thrive in that environment. Like there's someone I know that opened that restaurant in New York.
Yes, yes.
And he was like always like the goal of like, wow, he opened a hospitality group and has restaurants in New York and London and
that
everywhere.
Are thriving,
and just the ultimate, like, this is the goal, this is the dream, and to aspire to. And meanwhile, I was completely burnt out.
You're like, I want nothing.
How could I do that?
No, well, and I want to talk too about, and we'll circle back to this, but the difference between being tired and burnout. Like, because for me, being tired is like, oh my gosh, I think they both share very similar qualities, right, but it's hard to decipher like which is which. Because for me with working, it's like, oh, I will start a new job and I need to pick up every shift. I'm working 7 days a week, and I'm sure you can agree. Like, and that is on my own doing. Like, I need to set better boundaries. Mm-hmm. But being tired is just like, oh my gosh, no, I'm doing all these things I love and I'm still happy and content, but I'm just a little worn down. Being burnt out is like, you're at Lux Buffet at Westminster Mall and you're loading your plate and you're like, fuck, like, what am I doing? Like, that's, right, But I hear you talk about cheesecake, and obviously I think it was the time of right, which you were experiencing all of this. Right. But you were so spread thin.
I was spread pretty thin.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a part of me that, again, it's like that same part that does this with working out. I get so invested. Like, yes, I do this with real estate right now with my clients. And when I say I get invested, I am.
She's the best real estate agent for this reason.
An emergency contact for my clients.
Yes.
So
sometimes to a fault where I'm like.
To a fault. And I know it seems odd to a lot of colleagues I have, and I've been advised by some really successful colleagues that say, hey, you drastically need to change.
Stop.
Yeah. There, you cannot maintain that level of involvement, and with several clients across the board. And I have a hard time dialing it back because I do feel like, okay, this is someone's most, I don't care if, I've dealt with multi-million-dollar homes and properties. Still, to me, this is a huge moment. That it's a huge part of your life. It's
a huge investment.
I can't detach that part.
No.
And so I've even had people that worked on the other side of the transaction other people's clients call me down the line and they're just like, I just saw how involved you were and I just love that. And, you know, I'm like, respectfully, I appreciate that. But, you know, you can't call me.
Yeah.
But
is that illegal?
Well, no, it's not that it's illegal. It's
okay.
ethics for me. Like,
okay.
Would I want my client doing that?
No.
So I just always encourage that, but it doesn't stop them from reaching out. I just really try to impress upon people, you know. This is a relationship business. Pleaser. I am. I do believe it comes around and there's enough business out there. That's what I think. But that's also, I mean, I'll give you an example. I have an emergency key. Every single one of my clients has me have an emergency key for their home.
Which is crazy.
I'm starting to look like a janitor with that big circle ring on my belt. And it's like, but honestly, I take that still. And this is where I could be like, okay, Anna, this is enough. Instead, I'm like, oh my gosh, what an honor is that?
That they trust you.
So could this also lead to a serious burnout? Of course it would, but I don't. This is where I've realized
that's hard to
I know navigate. There's tools out there. It's hard to navigate that for me. And we live in a world where there's endless supply of tools and resources.
I know.
YouTubes, there books. I mean, even the books you want to buy on Amazon, let's be honest, they're at the library.
Yes. There are free resources that we just do not take advantage of.
No.
I think that like workplace burnout can also translate to emotional burnout, and especially in your situation, that because like caring too much, and then you're like, fuck, I have nothing left to give.
No.
I'm at my wit's end with everything, and that's where the two are directly related.
They are directly, well, because think of it like a cookie jar, right?
Yes.
If you keep giving out cookies and then your jar is empty,
then you're just hungry.
Then you're just hungry.
No,
yeah. But I know logically there's so many ways to manage this. It might be a personality defect. I don't know.
I know.
And maybe I've taught you.
But you know what's crazy? And I know we have talked about this too, but how is it that like we can look at someone, and we'll use Beckham as an example. Yeah. We can look at Beckham and be like, no, take a beat.
I know.
Dude, you're doing so good. Like, just take a minute.
Even him trying to work this last year. And we're like, enjoy high school. Don't do that. You're going to have burnout. Yes. No problem. We turn around and do the exact opposite.
Tweaking. Yes. And it's so... Obviously, he just graduated high school and he wanted to work his senior year. And I was like, bro, you're going to have the rest of your life to work. Like,
and then you never got to
enjoy school. And I'm like giving him this pep talk. And it's honestly probably what I even need to hear, because it's like,
I will say that is a result of my approach with him came from watching you, though.
Yes.
Again, while I'm not doing it for myself, watching you do that cycle at 16. I mean, dude, working. I mean, during the school year, while you were still being scheduled, you were working after school, weekends, then summer hits, forget it. You're working
every day,
every single day,
10 to 12 hours in the sun.
And I saw the burnout, like just from my point of view, it was so easy to see how you need to stop and dial that back.
But that's where it was hard. And obviously when my brother was growing up, that's why I could look at him and be like, no, do not do what I did, because obviously making good money at 16 is so enticing.
Of course.
I think that is the approach that everyone
not
takes
asking my permission to buy things.
No, I'm like,
power.
Oh my gosh, I have a
first
new paycheck.
Taste.
You know what I thought of the other day? The first thing I ever bought with my paycheck was a pair of black high top Converse.
It was?
Yeah, that I still have.
Oh, you have to keep those maybe.
Forever. But I was so drawn to like all this money and this lifeguard life and being tan all the time that I was working all the time, and I would like come home and I would have nightmares, like full on nightmares, that I was at work and like people were drowning in front of me, and I would just like watch and like but I couldn't do anything about it, and it was like I'd like wake up sweating, and there were just a lot of other people that were going through it too and having nightmares or had nightmares in the past, and they're like, yeah, that's normal. I'm like, I really don't think at 16 at my age I should be doing
but
this.
I couldn't get you to dial it back then, even though I didn't know how to take my own advice, and still don't.
I know.
There was no way to talk you out of it. And that's the thing. Dialing it back isn't hard.
No. But it's finding that balance, because why?
It's not a difficult task, but why is it difficult to actually do?
Well, why do there's something that happens in my brain where I'm like, if you pull back a little, then you're just lazy and you're horrible and you should just quit everything. And then that's when I go to that other extreme. Like even with eating.
Food habits, I was going to say, that's a big one. It's like, and I'm sure I read somewhere where it said, if you have a flat tire, would you pop the other 3? And I'm like, no, that's so stupid. And they're like, okay, so why would you do that with your food? And I'm like,
yeah, literally.
Well, I don't know why, but I do.
Same. And it's like
if I botched it at breakfast, I'm going hard the rest of the day.
And then I'm going to sabotage myself for the rest of the day. And it's like, oh, suddenly everything I've been craving for the past week, I'm going to fit it into my entire day. And to where I'm sick. And
I'm going to make sure I'm getting double dose just in case.
Yeah, because I know starting tomorrow I'm going to
deprive.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And I think that's another burnout. I could say huge. Almost everybody's
where it's
experience.
Like you'll be eating so healthy and you'll have one little thing to set you off. It could be a meal. It could be like an evening out. It could be whatever. And then you just like have this moment of, I don't give a fuck. And I'm sure so many, and then you go to the other extreme of like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And then that's when you could like.
Yeah, but I see people like that even, and maybe they have their moments. I'm not saying, but they manage even that so well that.
I'm like, how is this not consuming you?
Is it? I mean, it does. It's on my mind all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think. Yeah. I mean, maybe there was a period.
I think that's girlhood too.
That is girlhood, I think, to a certain degree. I don't always think. I don't want to say it's extreme, but I think we all have it.
Yeah.
We all have it.
Well, I think a big part of burnout is this glamorization of hustling.
You're right.
And I think going back to what you said about social media, that granted, we love social media. We would never shit on it. Like it has I think there's a lot more
everything. Good if you use it right. Like honestly.
But like you see other people or just like, oh, what I eat in a day or what I'm doing in a day or my 5 to 9 after my 9 to 5, like all these like stuff, and you're like, fuck, I should be doing so much more.
Like you're underperforming as a human. Yes. That's the part that drives me crazy. And that's
where I feel like I overload my schedule, and now I'm like trying to work out before I have work at 5, get off at 12, like go to school. Like and
I have that moment a lot. I'm like, how are they functioning to this level every day?
No. And then you like maybe do it for a couple weeks, and then you're like, fuck. And it's yeah.
And try and seriously, then I'll read and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and figure this out. And of course, meditation's always on everyone's list. And I'm like,
no, I don't need meditation. I need to like punch something. Like
we need what, a rage room? Is that what they're called?
Yeah. I would love a rage room. I need to like go outside and touch grass and roll in it like a dog, because sometimes like sitting with my own thoughts, I don't want to do that. No. Like, yeah, I know it's healthy, but these voices in my head,
it's hard. Like
monkeys.
This many years I've gone and I still struggle with that balance. It's still something that I go through, and it doesn't mean that I have tried some of these tools here and there, but it's seriously maintaining that is where I just don't know how people do it. Now I've asked and they're like, oh, I just try not to, and I take breaks when I need it. And I'm like I do too. Like? Only my breaks end up being so long sometimes.
I know.
And so it's just, I don't know, maybe I need hardcore rewiring. Maybe it's a much bigger problem than I realize. I don't know.
And like, yeah, there's so many things that you'll see on that like 5-minute gratitude. And yes, gratitude is an amazing thing.
Still.
Yes. But I'm like, when I'm going through this, I need someone to like grab me by the shoulders and shake me aggressively and be like, snap out of it because you're fine. Like just do. And I want to talk about burnout, like a burnout recovery kit. So like when you find yourself in that position, like instead of just moping and then getting your shit together like a week later and then going through the whole thing over again, one thing that I think is huge is saying no.
Yeah.
And I've
gotten better at saying no.
I will say you have, yeah.
Because I would say yes to everything. But somehow, like you said, I just need to work on my delivery because...
Is this for another time?
It's such a hard thing for me to do that I just have to do it. And I know my delivery's not great, but it's like if I don't just do it in the moment, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So it might sound like horrible and harsh,
but no is a full sentence.
I know. We talked about that.
Yes, it's so important. Like, you don't owe anyone else an explanation. I think of even social burnout, like committing to plans when you're so strained and you should have just said no in the first place. And now it's like you have to come up with an excuse or you feel bad.
Yeah.
Had I just said, no, I can't, I'm busy. No, I can't, I'm tired. Or just no, like we could have avoided this whole thing. And same with setting boundaries. Like at work, for me, if I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can only work 4 to 5 days a week or 3 to 4, whatever it is for you or me or you, like whatever.
And not falling pressure to when they push back.
Yes. Like other people are doing it.
And they do it fine.
Flawlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the creative breaks. That one's the tough one because like with very recent, like I said, you and your nose, my creative break turned into a unnecessary time off.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I did not mean for that to roll and like turn into 1 month.
No.
Like
happened very fast.
I was like, 1 week, it'll be fine. Next thing you know, you can't even wake me up this morning. We're trying to go and take a class. Dude,
we're trying to like get back in the just into our routine.
I was like, cancel, I'll pay the $15.
I know.
It's gone pretty bad.
I was like, what is, dude, we're sleeping so much. But that we need to rest. Like we can still do the things we want to do, but we have to prioritize rest. And rest is obviously not just sleeping. It's like taking a beat, not doom scrolling all the time. Like, I'm not saying delete your Instagram. Like,
no.
Get rid of. No, obviously that's so unrealistic. Like in the world we live in, I would even go as far as to say it's important to have somewhat of an internet presence to just know what's happening.
You have to.
But maybe just don't pick it up first thing in the morning, Riley. Like,
or in the middle of the night. Okay, so
you are so guilty of that.
You are so guilty.
No, I don't wake up in the middle of the night. I do not wake up in the middle of the night.
I've gotten a random message at like 2 something in the morning.
She's lying. My boyfriend sent her a reel last night
that I got in real
2
time.
Yeah, and she was on her phone.
They're both
up. I was like, "Why are you awake?" Like, and then I'll see her sleeping like a sick Victorian child in the morning, and
with
I'm
my eye mask.
Yeah, and she's just like, I'm like, dude,
I'm tired.
Yeah, I would be too if you're like scrolling for hours in the middle of the night.
It makes me sleepy again.
No, it doesn't. It makes you like wired.
No, I don't believe that because I've fallen asleep with my phone falling on the floor.
Yeah, but then that's the worst when it's like 8 o'clock and I go into her room to like wake her up. And she like wakes up as if she just saw. I don't know.
That's a mom thing.
That's the worst. I don't
That's
know.
a total mom thing, and you'll know one day what that feels like.
I'm like, bro, what? I used to do that all the time as a kid, where I would get like scared of sleep. This is very much a side note. I would get scared of sleeping in my bed, and I've always been tall. Like I've never not been a big.
You're like a 3 foot tall 2-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah, you were.
And my parents would not let me sleep in their bed. #rude. #cancel them. So instead, I would, in the middle of the night, sneak into their room. Do you know what I'm about to say? Sneak into their room and pray that I didn't get caught. And I would literally bring with my pillow, no blanket even. This is horrible. No blanket. And I would just put my pillow on the floor next to my mom's side of the bed, and I would sleep so peacefully, may I add. I was so comfortable. And then I'd wake up to her like stepping on me in the morning, or her being like,
why would I know?
Why would you just
think that I would at some point make it routine to just feel gently with my feet to see if you were there? But I was like, there's no way.
I don't care. I would have adapted. You think I wouldn't? But the listener, burnout is something that is so real, and you have to listen, and I have to listen, and I have to be patient and know that things
I think
take
this
time.
is I think having community or even a friend, like that you can check in with for this, even though we shouldn't use each other, but
because we'll feed each other's bullshit.
Yeah, 100%. I'll come tuck you back in and miss that class, but maybe someone who, like I talked about, is so good at that
balance
routine and maintaining or using their tools. Maybe having that go-to person, I feel like, that will do like a check, like I say wellness check, but just check in and say, hey, like, what's going on? You know what? You've missed too many days or.
Yeah. I think, and I just thought of this, a big part of burnout is because obviously there's so much like instant gratification nowadays that comes from everything.
Right.
And when you try something new, or when you're working or working out or dieting or creatively trying and exploring
or
a new
work.
outlet, yes.
Like we know that
if we don't get results as fast as we want them, we're like, fuck this.
I would like that friend you had with that job. She was only there a year, and she was like, "I'm quitting."
Her passion. I was like, "Don't fucking give up!" Like, and she's like, "No, I'm done."
She's like, "I'm burnt out already. I haven't been promoted." Blah blah blah. So there's patience in it too. Maybe that's what it is.
Yes, and that's something that I try to do. Is I try to be patient, but
I suck at patience.
I do too. But I instead am just given opportunities to be patient, and all I can do is show up.
Just try.
Just try.
So we're going to just try and make that class tomorrow.
I know, which means I probably have to go to bed right now. Because I'm tired from all that sleep I got recovering from surgery.
Sleep makes you tired too.
Really? There's no winning.
There's no winning.
What can I do? Burnout.
Thank
you guys so much for listening to the I Did It First podcast. I'm Riley.
I'm Anna.
And we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.